against Newcastle, it's been reported that PAF have held talks with 777, the company that previously tried to buy Everton, about acquiring one of their clubs. Could a multi-club model benefit Newcastle?
Yeah, I would think most of the clubs will try and move to a multi-club model. They all seem to believe that the City approach has worked well, and they'll try and replicate it. So yes, but I wouldn't think PAF need to look too closely at the 777 assets. Yes, there is distress with 777, but the reality is you could probably pick up the phone to most of the French league that are not currently owned by multi-club owners and get a very welcome audience, because France, for example, is in particular distress, but probably you could also do it elsewhere, in other countries. So I would expect them, if they've got the appetite, to buy something in the next year, really, because now is a good time to buy these assets. There's just not that much money around.
And then it's emerged this week that they're pushing hard to sign Mark Gay from Crystal Palace. Could a big money sale be needed to fund that, or would Newcastle just see how things go as the season goes on, maybe?
Yeah, I suspect they won't sell a big player. That would seem not make sense. So it's more likely that they see how it goes for now. They'll probably be close enough next season such that they won't need a sale if they have a very good season. So if they had, for example, if they maximized broadcast by finishing, let's say, in the top 5, or did very well in the domestic trophies, or got some new sponsors on board, all of that could give them the necessary revenue to mean that they didn't need to sell during the year. And they'll probably also look at June of next year and say, well, look, if the worst comes to the worst and we get to June next year and we've got a big headache, then we'll just go through that June process again and try and find some players to swap with whoever else has got some PSR issues. Being cynical, but I just think it would be counterproductive to sign him and then immediately sell one of your other big players. I mean, that would seem to make no sense at all. If you were that worried about PSR, then you would just take a year out of the transfer market in terms of those big signings. So, I think they'll also look at how the whole thing pans out on sponsorship and associated party transactions with Manchester City and any changes to the rules that might help them and all of that sort of stuff. So I think it'll be a wait and see. But again, it's very hard to believe they don't have a plan as to how they'll deal with this situation, even in that worst case scenario.